Hi guys, welcome to the Man Shed and this week's episode of Photo Tips. This is actually going to be a follow-up to an episode I did a couple of weeks ago about photographing events, where basically I was talking about the things that you needed to do if you're taking a compact camera along to some rock concert or something like that, and just ways of getting some good photos. A chap called Jim Markland, who's a regular user at the studios. Hang on, that sounds wrong. User at the studios, makes it sound like he's on drugs. User of the studios, whose expertise and specialisation is in dance photography. Well, he sent me back some follow-on tips about taking photographs using DSLR equipment and more advanced kit, particularly where you've got some kind of access, ideally. So here's Jim's tips. They follow on from mine, so we're going to start with Rule 6. So Rule 6 is use fast lenses. Now you can get prime lenses that go down to like an f1.2 or an f1.8 terrifically fast, but the trouble is, I suspect with most of those primes, is you're not going to get a long enough focal length to cover the distance between you and the stage. Usually you're a good distance, you really need like a 200mm type lens or longer even. And that's kind of the second part of Rule 6, is take lenses that have the focal length that meet your working requirements. And also maybe you want to take a couple of cameras with different lenses on, because you may well not be able to switch lenses fast enough, and maybe don't want to do it in the dark and all those other things. Rule 7. Shoot with the fastest shutter speed you can get. Now for Jim photographing dance, for example, he says, go for a 500th of a second. He says, crank up the ISO on your digital camera as fast as you can, because to a large extent you can post-process out digital noise. But what you can't post-process out is motion blur. Rule 8 is turn off your VR or your IS, your image stabilization. At those fast shutter speeds, it's not going to add anything at all. Rule 9, check your white balance. Particularly true in concerts where there's lots of light changes. It's changing colours all the time. Your auto white balance is just going to get seriously confused by that. You've probably got mixed lighting sources, so I'd suggest go for something like set it to tungsten lighting and just leave it like that. Because when it comes to post-processing, even if the colour is wrong, you'll be able to apply the same colour correction across the board to all of the images, but just don't leave it on auto white balance, because it's going to go all over the place. Number 10, see if you can get a good camera position, but be considerate of the other people at the concert. They may well be paying to go to that concert that you're doing for free, so don't stand in front of them, don't get in their way. Rule 11, set up your autofocus and particularly your continuous tracking. A lot of the cameras now do this intelligent tracking, so if a subject is in motion, it will automatically adjust the focus to compensate. Particularly if you're talking about fast-moving gigs, fast-moving performers, that could be a real bonus. Rule 12. If you can, and if it makes sense, take a tripod. Two reasons. Firstly, you're carrying a ton of kit around, and frankly it's really nice just to put that down and have it supported for you. Secondly, that stability of being on a tripod will help avoid any camera shake, although if you're shooting on a fast shutter speed, camera shake probably won't be an issue. But tripod might be too big, might be too awkward. An alternative would be to take a monopod, particularly a collapsing one, so you've got something fairly small and you can just hang off your belt or even in your pocket. Rule 13, take spare batteries and lots of memory cards. The thing about this kind of event work is you want to be shooting in RAW, because you want to give yourself as many post-processing options as possible. And secondly, you are going to shoot a lot of pictures, even though most of them are going to get thrown away because of issues. But shooting lots of RAW files will consume lots of memory space really quickly. Okay, so thanks to Jim for following up on those. Just to give a full credit to Jim, Jim regularly runs workshops at the studio. If you want to come along and learn about dance photography, I couldn't recommend them more highly. Just also, if you want to come and use the studios, don't forget they're always available for hire, so check out cheltenhamfilmandphotostudios.com. And if you want to learn more just generally, come to the blog filmphotoacademy.com. Loads of information on the blog always. Okay, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.